Plus, it's dinner time, and some people don't want to dine. Let me just say before we begin, and it's 7:02, so I will call this to order. Frank was saying that for whatever reason, mysterious as it may be, he didn't get the notices. He's dropped off the email list. So I mentioned this, Margie. I don't know if there's.
No, you know what it was, Stephen. That one was sent from the Easthampton Garden account, right?
Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, but before you've sent them, were they from your account before?
No. So what I do is that I send the notice. I create the Gmail from our account and use our email list and send it out. And I always usually do it twice. I think what you were saying is that you didn't get either one of those.
No, I didn't get it. The one I got was the one that you sent me after I had emailed.
Yeah, right. And that, right, Frank. And that was from my account. That was from my computer, just simply forwarding you the other one. So
yeah. But I've always gotten them in the past. That's what was odd.
Yeah, I know. So that's why I'm mentioning it, because Margie, we should look into that. I don't know why Frank has fallen off
I'm looking right now.
the face of the proverbial earth here.
I'm checking it out as we.
I got both an email from Easthampton Community Garden as well as directly from Margie. So I got, if there were more than that, I don't know, but I got both of those.
You got both of those. Okay, yeah, the critical one is from the Easthampton Garden.
That did come through.
Yeah.
It was,
Okay,
the name might have a number in it. It looked a little bit weird, but I recognized that it was coming from the garden, so that could have been caught by a spam filter. Yeah.
Frank is on the. Frank, you are on the garden email list. That's on the Hampton Google.
Yeah, Frank, maybe it's in your spam.
And you are on my list. I can't control anybody.
Hold on. I'll look at my spam right now.
Laura Fish is joining us.
Yay.
Nope. All I have in my spam is somebody named Mercy Karimi from Kenya, which sounds about right.
Even I suspect the cause may be that you need to update your contact information. Just because you created an email list for the Easthampton Community Garden, it's not going to automatically update when the Easthampton Community Garden email list gets updated on the Easthampton Community Garden's Gmail account. So if you're sending anything from your account to a contact list that's tied to your email account, you're the one who needs to update that info.
Oh, it's complicated.
No, but I'm not, Nicole, I'm not doing that. I'm going into the garden. I'm just going into the garden account, and I generate an email through the garden account. And that's
So
how that's why it's.
But Margie's confirming the list is accurate for that account.
Frank is in there. David Clark Carroll is in there too.
Yeah.
Well, David got it. It just said it was. Any event, what can I say? Frank has gotten them in the past. That's how I've sent them out in the past. So we got to figure that one out. Any event, I declare the meeting open at 7:02. David, thank you so much for joining us. It's a pleasure to see you. Just so you know, if you looked at the attached agenda, it's kind of a standard. We just use a fixed agenda, so that basically we give reports, and what's new is what the reports are, but the agenda itself remains the same at all times, and it always starts off with a public comment period, and what that means is every public meeting in Easthampton starts with that. So if there's a member of the public who wants to raise an issue, say something, say hello, etc., this is where we set aside the time to do that. It's pretty rare that happens, but today I noticed that everyone in attendance is a member of the garden, so technically we can dispense with the public comment period and move on to our agenda, which then begins with the acceptance of the minutes Those had also been attached, but I'm happy to, should I put the minutes up on the screen so that people can look at them so we can approve them? We last met on October 7th. I can scroll down further for whoever requests that. Is there a motion to adopt the minutes?
A motion we adopt the minutes.
Both Frank and Mark, per usual, have moved it. Is there a second anywhere?
Sure.
Margie has seconded. Any discussion, need for corrections, additions, etc. by anyone? I don't hear that, so all in favor of adoption?
Aye.
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 Anyone
Aye.
opposed to that? Hearing none, so the minutes are adopted unanimously. Okay, and I shall take them down. Okay. Next, of course, is our treasurer's report. And if you'd like, I can, again, what we've been doing, which I think is great, is that we have a link on the actual, it appears on the minutes, etc., and it's an update. So I can actually put up, let me go back and put those minutes back up for a second.
Yeah? What's up, Guillermo?
Who's meowing?
Guillermo.
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 Guillermo. Okay. So right here, I should take a moment to point this out, that when you get the minutes, if you want to, if you actually want to watch the prior meeting, there's that link.
Oh, cool.
So you can just go right on it. And if you want to look at the treasurer's report, you can go right here. So you know. But what I'm going to do, if it's okay, Nicole, I'm going to authorize you to put that link up.
Yes. All right.
So you're authorized now.
Share the screen. Okay, folks. Everyone see this okay?
Yep.
All right, great. I'm gonna move that over to the side. Yes, Guillermo. Anyway, hello, everyone. Thank you for attending my screenshot presentation, possibly for the last time this fiscal year, this gardening year. So as a quick reminder, I've broken the spreadsheet into 3 tabs. The running balance is what the city has for our running balance. So according to the city, we started the year with $4,964.90. We paid $895.13 worth of invoices between all of the separate vendors. That is broken into detail on the 3rd tab. So you could see what we had rollover balance, what we approved to increase, the total number of expenses, and the remainder, and the overall totals for the expenses is actually higher than I have in the other sheet. So I need to adjust that. So 1,248.52.
That indicates 2020 invoices.
Oh, you're right. Hang on a second. Because I did have it over here. I can undo it. Don't worry.
Don't worry, you did it.
I love the undo button.
I actually
Isn't that
put
great?
that total over here in the invoices column. So the income and invoices for this fiscal year are represented in these two columns. So we paid 895 leftover balances from 2020. That left us was $4,069.77. We had an income of $870. We paid out wow, I can't talk right now. $1,248.52 in invoices. So we ended the fiscal year. Our balance with the city is $3,691.25. All right. So
Question, when does our fiscal year begin?
it is a rolling balance. It is separate from the rest of the Easthampton fiscal year budget.
So there's no fiscal year for us.
There's no fiscal year for us. That's correct. Okay. So next up is petty cash, which, as a reminder, is literally cash that I am sitting with in my hand, and I'm about to like take a flight to Mexico.
Oh
It's going to be a one-way flight.
That's right. It will be one.
Send us a postcard.
So we started the year with $252 in the petty cash envelope. We paid out. I made change for the key bag at the beginning of the year so that when Stephen distributed keys, he would be able to give change. We paid an extra $15 out of my personal checking account for Manchester Hardware. That was a decision made by the gardening committee to pay the late fees that the city was not obligated to pay. And then we have reimbursement for Stephen. So Stephen, you handed me some, this is where I need a little clarity. Because you handed me a receipt for cash paid for Foster for our company for $11.
Right.
And you also handed me a note saying that you retained $19 of petty cash.
Right.
Which left $80 in the bag, but we actually have an ending balance of $302, not $295. So was this retaining of $19 everything you retained for yourself?
I'm confused.
Right,
Me
so am
too.
I. That's why I'm asking for clarity.
Right. There is, that's right. I have $19 that I've held from the petty cash I've been holding. I gave you the 80 and held the 19 because the 19 just gives me cash so that when we start off next year, I can produce keys because we're out of keys. We're out of keys now. I just thought I would hold back some so I can get people keys.
I understand that, but my
Good
question
idea.
is the $19 inclusive of the $11 receipt? Yes or no?
Well, yeah, I think the point I'm making on the receipt was that I used the $11 of petty cash that had been in there for that. So the $80 that I gave, which was actually there was $99 left. I gave you 80, kept 19, but the $11 had already been paid out of the petty cash there. I just put the receipt in so you had it.
Right. No, I appreciate that.
That was a receipt from petty cash.
Right. Okay. So I guess I don't understand. I guess there was more than $80 in here. I don't know why this math is not working out. The amount I'm holding in my hand is 302, which is $7 different than what our ending, $7 more than our ending balance, which I'm confused by.
Wait, can I, just for clarification, there's $302 in the petty cash?
Correct.
Okay.
That's because Nicole had I only had a small portion of the petty cash.
Right. Okay. That's a nice, that's a healthy petty cash. I like that.
Yeah, it is. Oh, wait, I just discovered the problem. Never mind. I figured out what's wrong.
Awesome.
Oh, no, I didn't figure out what's wrong.
Oh.
Well, this should be more than 37, right? That's why. It's going to make it worse. Watch. All right. So we paid out 75. we had an income of 80 and our ending balance should be 257. Did I do the formula wrong? Income, what is this, $5? Yeah, all right. So here's the starting balance. We paid out 75. We had an income of 80, which means we made $5 total. But I have in my hand $302. And I don't think I've accidentally folded any of my own money into this. So we have extra money and I can't explain why. That's the upshot.
All right, we'll figure it out.
Yeah,
Sounds like compound interest to me.
Take it to committee.
I don't think I lost a decimal anywhere, which could explain why it's a discrepancy of 50. But yeah, we had made income of 80, payment of 75, actual, like, that would have been a dive in flavor. But there's our ending balance, which is like, and our ending balance is actually 302.
Okay.
All right, so there we have it.
And you're sticking to it.
I'm sticking to it. I got $302 in my hand.
All
I'm
right.
going to count it for the 4th time, just to be sure.
Karen has joined us. Welcome, Karen. Okay, so that is the
Could I-
report.
Can I just, Nicole, are we going to leave? Because I'd just like to go back to the Broadbrook account for a minute, if you don't mind.
Not at all.
Because we're gonna I'm getting ahead of myself with the operation stuff, but we're gonna need to call them to come blow the system.
No, that's not getting ahead of yourself.
Okay.
No, that's an invoice that hasn't been created yet.
Right, because we haven't called them to do it.
Right.
We need
So
to do that.
hang on one moment. I'm going to switch to last year's. Whoops. No, I want to go back to my drive. That's what I want to do.
Yeah, they'd be under the POs and invoices, I would think, no?
Right, because we have a separate sheet for last year. The 2020 budget. So we can look at that and determine what the cost for this year's.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be an approximate because they may have gone up, but they won't, I can't imagine they've gone up very much.
I think it should be 125 based on last year's, because this was the back, that was the letter. for
Yeah,
the code.
we're straight with them now, right?
Yeah, we're straight. We're totally fine.
Cool. All right, so it was 125. That account for this year has,
Going back to it, hang on.
mhm.
We still have,
We should be fine. We should
yeah,
be,
we're totally fine. I think we started out with 400 and paid 100. So rollover was 100. We voted to increase it,
all right, yeah,
right? We paid out 100, so we still have this much left.
okay, cool. Excellent.
Maybe put that 125 in parentheses until
Yes.
it's actualized.
I'm not sure what it's going to do to the formula I have at the top of the,
Oh, I see. Okay. Well,
let's find out.
Well, it doesn't. Oh,
Yeah, that wasn't helpful.
yeah. Pick it right
How
up.
about I just leave it over here?
Okay. Yeah. I think. Yeah. You can keep it in box B or something like that.
Cook in the electronic books.
Yeah. Put it in B instead of. Yeah. Exactly.
Sure.
Oh, great. Okay.
All right, all good? Any other questions?
Yeah.
David, is this boggle or is this Does this make sense to you?
I'm guessing by context, Broadbrook it maintains the water system. Is that accurate?
Yeah, well, Broadbrook, they're the ones who install the whole water system.
Yeah.
And at the end of the year, we need to blow the water out of the system so the pipes don't freeze.
Yeah.
So
That honestly sounds like a deal for that type of thing.
yeah, that's just all
Yeah.
part of, that's the overall maintenance. It's just a seasonal thing that has to get done.
Yeah.
We'll get the water, the city's going to need to turn the water off as well. So that's another thing. Karen's having problems.
Karen's been blanked out here. No
All
matter.
right, I'm
Okay,
gonna
so,
stop the share.
okay. So, is there a motion to adopt the treasurer's report?
All right, I'll motion we adopt it.
Okay. Second?
Sure.
Oh, David did, all right. Any questions anyone had? Hello, Eric. All in favor of adoption, by aye.
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 I
Opposed? Hearing none, treasurer's report is adopted unanimously. And we move on to the operations report.
Yay.
That'd be Frank Johnson.
Hey, Laura, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm just tuning in. I have a few things to say, but I'll let you do the operations report, and I'll weigh in on some ideas that I have. Does that
Awesome.
sound good?
Sounds good.
All right.
So let me look at my notes here. There's a little more mowing. I did some mowing last week on some plots.
Sorry about this. I'm going to put myself on mute.
Okay. So I did some mowing and some plots that were abandoned. There's 2 more, and I have officially abandoned some plots now. A8 and A9 need to be mowed now. I've heard nothing back from those folks, and nothing is happening on those plots. So
A8 and A9.
A8 and A9. And they're pretty overgrown, so I got to go walk them again. I'll probably do this Saturday or Sunday. I got to walk them to make sure there's no rocks. I was mowing up there the other evening and / into night, and I should have stopped, and I didn't, and I hit a wire cage. So yeah, I had to. My lovely wife went up with me 2 days later, and we had to get wire cutters and cut it all off the blade of the lawnmower. The lawnmower's fine; it's a tank, but there's 2 more to mow, and then B4, Eliana, she's abandoned hers, and then I have B8, Margie.
Susanna's still gardening. Susanna and I just saw her the other day up there.
I'll go back and double check that plot, but there was nothing. That plot there's nothing, no activity there. I mowed some of it. That's the one where I hit the cage.
I will send them an email. That's Susanna Apgar and Nina Levison.
I only have one name on the. Let me look at the other.
Are you sure you're not thinking about my plot, B7?
Nope, yours is mowed, and then I mowed the one next to it, and that's where I hit the wire cage. Because that's right above. Yeah, another plot that's abandoned on A8. And it was too dark. I should have stopped, and I didn't.
Oh, man.
Pushing my luck. Mm-hmm. So yeah, Margie, that plot, there was nothing going on there at all, and nothing has been done there since I mowed. There's still a patch I didn't mow for obvious reasons because I hit the cage. So, did you say you'll email her? Because,
Yeah.
okay, because if you don't want to do it, I'll do it again, but.
Well, I'll email them, and I'll also email A8 and A9 and let them know their plots have been considered abandoned.
Okay. And then we know that B1,
Dawn, yeah.
Dawn is not going to come back, that's too bad.
And there's one more who's not coming back. D12,
Which one?
D12, our good friend Becca.
Oh, D12. Yes, that one will be open as well. So I'm not quite sure. We don't have to talk about her by name, but in terms of her with mobility issues, there are plots that are open up near the parking area, and we can decide this in the spring. We don't have to decide this right now, but it's something for us to at least put in the minutes that we need to revise the application, and to where if somebody has some sort of a physical disability and they need some sort of accommodation, that we will try to preserve plots up near the parking area. And because if we need to do any modifications, that's going to be the easiest place to do it. But yeah, because this D12 for somebody who's got mobility issues is not, that was just unfortunate. So, and then as far as plots, everything else looks pretty good. There's some people I need to email, because since I had done the last inspection, they haven't been up there. So I just want to make sure they're still on board. And another issue that is going to come, because it happened last year, there are about 3 plots that have put a lot of cardboard down, and there's one that's got some stakes in it. So I'm not going to mention any names. They've got some little bamboo stakes, and all it's going to take is about a good 20-mile-an-hour wind, and all of that will be over in the orchard across the street. So I will email these people individually and tell them that they really need to get something on top of that cardboard. And we have we've got 2 nice deliveries of wood chips. It's
excellent.
oak. It's oak. It's good stuff. So they need to cover the cardboard, because I found it way in the back of the orchard last year, and it was in the neighbor's front yard across the street. So it's just so we're good with our neighbors and everywhere else around there. We don't need cardboard blowing around, because remember, if you remember, just within the last year, it was a very windy winter and a very windy spring. So that's something that I've already got notes. I went up there and walked today, and so I'll get a hold of those folks.
Frank, I have a question.
Sure.
The woman in A12, have you been in touch with her? She took a break this year.
Yeah, I know. And then she thought she had somebody who was gonna take it over, and was very enthusiastic, and then they didn't. But
she would like to come back, and
I did not consider that plot abandoned, so she's gonna get a hold of her.
But I also told her we could mow it, and she thought that would be great.
It's not mowable.
Not mowable.
There's so much cardboard there. There is cardboard, and then some of it just needs to be weeded. So, but it's not mowable. I can go try a little in some places, but I just don't think it's going to really work. It won't be mowing. It will be shredding.
What if she picks up the cardboard?
Well, she could. I mean, I'll go back and look at it again. I just don't. I think it'd probably be better off to leave the cardboard there.
Okay, she just needs help. She didn't think she could.
Yeah, I know. It's just physically, it's been tough for her right now. So,
that's right next to mine. And hearing that there's wood chips out there, that's kind of what I've been waiting on, that and a good freeze to go out there and cover it with cardboard. So I'd be happy to cover her plot with wood chips if that's what's desired.
Yeah.
I'll be doing mine right next to it. So,
Okay.
you know,
Yeah. Wherever, just David, if you just put the wood chips down, the weeds are there'll need to be something under it.
yeah.
That's
I've got so much cardboard from moving. You have no idea.
Right.
I've got moving boxes. I've got IKEA boxes. Like, I got the cardboard, man.
Well, if you want to contribute that, that's fine. I mean, I really think we should do an impromptu volunteer weekend, and I don't mind being up there on Saturday. You know, it's one thing on the agenda is my agenda anyway, in terms of some sort of project, is we really got to deal with the Thistle up there in D12, and I'm sorry, D1, and.
One second before we go on, David, that's a great idea. I'm going to email Joanne and tell her to get in touch with you, because we also have this policy that we don't go in people's gardens until we ask them.
I was going to say I wouldn't do it until it was all okay with her.
All right, that's great. Thank you.
I'm sure, just for her emails too, Margie, she's probably going to be cool with it. I'm sure.
I'm happy to do volunteer if I get some direction. I wasn't able to make last week because my parents were in town. I've got family coming in just about every weekend. You know, after living in California for so many years, everyone's coming to visit. So just tell me what needs doing, and I'm happy to put in a couple hours here on weekdays when I can.
Cool.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and Margie, we'll talk. I want to send, depending on what you all think, but I would really like to see if we can't get a work party. I'm going to start working on the Thistle, and I know Alyssa had talked about it, and I just want to go on the record too and thank her for organizing the shed and cleaning it. It looks awesome if you haven't been up there.
Yep.
It's great. But to start working on the Thistle. And then put down, and David, if you've got leftover cardboard after you do your plot and anything else the one next to you, I would love to try and cover all of D1, and I have a lot of newspaper that I can put down and wet, and then put cardboard down and wet, and then cover it in about 4 or 5 inches of freaking wood chips.
Sounds good.
Deb threw a carpet on that Thistle, and it's kind of pushing the carpet up a little bit. Like that's it's that Canadian Thistle. That stuff it's crazy.
It doesn't care.
No, man, it is. And I really do. I know Alyssa had called the extension at UMass, and I think they charged $200 to come out and do a consult, and it might not be a bad idea, although short of using Roundup, the mitigation to try and keep that stuff out is going to be pretty labor intensive. I mean, the only thing that I've seen that just eyeballing that seems to be working, and now that a lot of the greenery is off, I walked back in the field there. The Thistle seems to have it doesn't seem to be able to make inroads wherever there's goldenrod.
Okay.
And so I have a small little grow area that I could, even in the winter, I could try and start some goldenrod, and we could actually try and plant it. I just think it'd be cool if we could get the extension out there and see if we can't get somebody from UMass in environmental science who needs a project. I think it'd be a really cool idea. And see what ideas they may have, but just from my own observation, the goldenrod seems to hold its own against that stuff, because man, that stuff it's got shoulders. That's all I'll say. So yeah, just 2 other things that I already mentioned. We need to get a hold of Broadbrook and have the pipes blown, get the water out of it, and then the city's going to need to come turn off the water. And the long range looks pretty good for the ground not getting frozen like a deep freeze yet. We're going to get in some mid-20s, I think, next couple of days, maybe low 20s, but then we're going back up in the 30s for lows next week.
Folks, I'm really sorry I have to duck out early. I hope you all have a restful evening after this meeting, and I will check out the meeting minutes and follow up with any questions I have. Thank you.
Thanks, Nicole.
Take care.
That's about it. That's all I have.
I have a question, Frank. If you want to organize a work party, I think we will be more successful if we make it like more organized, basically, because I had several emails asking me what time and who's going to be there and what should I do.
Yep. I'm really mostly focused on the Thistle issue more than anything else right now.
What time? What day? And I'll put out the
I would
email.
say Saturday, and then we can think about a time, but obviously later in the day is usually better.
Well, if you tell me now, I don't think I'm going to stay the whole meeting. It depends how long it goes. But I'll put out the email, and I'll have people contact you if they're interested.
Let's do between 11 and 3, starting at 11.
Okay. Thank you. That's all.
Was that this Saturday?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if we go too much later, I don't think the ground's going to freeze, but we really, this stuff, you have to go deep. That's all I'll say. We're going to be using forks and yeah, no, we're going to be, it's not easy. And we'll see how far we can get in that time allotment.
Just going to be on D1?
Yeah, D1. I mean, it'd be great if we could just throw some magic potion in there other than, Roundup. But most anything else you do, so even if you use vinegar or something like that, you're gonna kill everything in the soil, which, it may come to that.
Yeah, we, so on our property, we've been dealing with a lot of invasives, and we actually talked to Arcadia about remediation and like getting rid of invasives, and they were like, Roundup. That's what they do. They do very specific spot treatments of stuff, which I was very surprised by. And then we try, like, vinegar changes the pH of the soil.
Mm-hmm.
So if you do that, it's going to be, you've got to wait. It's going to be a couple of years before it comes back to like a stasis. So I don't know what the answer is, but I was pretty surprised to hear that glyphosate was the go-to for Arcadia. I think they're very intentional and careful about it, but
Yeah. Well, Laura, I because this is a different issue with a different group of people, but the majority of the thistle, where it's really taken over, is actually in conservation land. It's behind where the bird
Yeah.
And we can't do anything there. I mean, all we can do is think about a way to make a buffer between there. If we use the glyphosate, let's say we did this, and this is a hypothetical. I don't even want to use it in that plot, because then that would probably become like, I don't know what it would become. Because the glyphosate's it's pretty persistent. So I would rather try and at least within the gardening area, I would really try to control this manually. And I think what is going to come of this is that this is something that if you want to have a garden there, you're just going to have to be vigilant.
Yeah, and I think also maybe there could be consistent mowings of a larger buffer between the garden and where maybe a little bit past the birdhouses. Keep stuff more mowed. If we could even get someone down there with a tractor with either a belly mower or
like a brush hog or something.
Yeah, a couple times a year, that might at least help keep it from flowering. I don't know.
Yeah, I really, this stuff is crazy. I mean, the roots go out like 20 feet. It is Like if you read up on Canadian Thistle, it's like a freaking nightmare. And then you have, and then you also have the goldfinches that love to eat it, and then they love to fly and land and on our sunflowers and poop. So it's just something that we're gonna have to educate everybody on and to identify it as a seedling, and then make sure that you get it. And I mean, this is going to be an ongoing conversation. Obviously, I don't want to take over the meeting with this. But this is something that we're really gonna. It may involve a conversation at some point with the Conservation Commission, because there's a large patch of it on that land, and it is invasive, and they're probably going to want to think about dealing with it themselves. And there's also pasture for cattle, and there's an orchard across the street. So there's that too. So that's that. But yeah, that's something I want to at least get that rolling this weekend, and we'll see how far we get with it. Okay. Any other questions, ideas, comments?
I'm going to say I was checking with the water in the water closet the other day. It is turned off, I think, already.
It is. Okay. Yeah, I didn't check it.
Yeah.
So that's all that.
I was looking to rinse off something and I couldn't get any water. So I said, I guess they shut it off November 1st, probably.
That would make sense. I mean, normally it would be off by now, but these temperatures haven't been normal.
Right.
Until the last few days, really. All right, Stephen, that's it.
Okay, thank you so much, Frank.
Sure.
Laura, did you want to add a few operational aspects here?
Yeah, just a few ideas, things I've been talking to people about in town. A couple of things. So the city recently launched a senior tax work-off program for lower income seniors who are property owners. They can volunteer on municipal projects and initiatives to decrease their tax bill by, I think, up to like $1,000 or $1,500. And I talked to Councillor JP Kwasinski, who is the ward or precinct councillor that for the community where the community garden is, and he said he'd really like to tie some of that volunteer work in with the community garden. So even if it's something simple like planting and maintaining the beds near the road, or some kind of ongoing project, I think there's a good opportunity there to get some people who would be interested in volunteering, and it would benefit them and it would benefit the garden. So I think that would be a great program to try to tie in. I've also been talking with another city councilor. We've been working on some pollinator issues and brainstorming, just different ways to deal with or create pollinator corridors, create some awareness about pollinators, and encourage pollinator plantings. So I was thinking that might be another good tie-in with maybe the pollinator plot. We might be able to do, a pollinator plant giveaway at the community garden at the beginning of the year or the season. I think that's, both of those things are sort of my ideas for tying the community garden in with, just citywide operations. And what else? Oh, I noticed that, over the past decade that a lot of the plots are kind of sunken because people have removed so much of the topsoil, unfortunately. And I think that it might be worth considering, I don't know how much you'd need, but it might be worth thinking about getting some fill, like some nice topsoil or garden soil, and having it, trucked in, left. I don't know how much you would need again. But it's also my understanding that right now there's a lot of grant money out there, and I believe the municipality would qualify for a lot of grants, specifically grant money about like food and farm infrastructure. So I think, being cognizant of what grants are out there, and working to maybe tie the community garden in with some of those. Maybe the city planning department could be useful. I don't know. I know Jeff Bag's super busy. But yeah, those are the three things that I sort of wanted to just float to you guys. I'd be happy to touch base with Councilor Kwasinski about the senior tax work-off program, if that's something that is of interest. I don't know what the parameters are or how many hours people have to do, but it might be nice to have like a specific dedicated volunteer or two. And he was very adamant that he wanted some of this work to go toward the community garden. So I'd be happy to reach out and get the parameters and just forward it on and discuss it at then maybe one of the next meetings. And with the pollinator stuff, nothing's in stone yet. But I kind of wanted to float the idea to you guys because working with the community garden on at least the educational aspect seemed to make sense to me. So maybe it's something small, like I said, if we can get donations of some pollinator friendly perennials and do a giveaway at the garden in the spring, that might be nice. Or even have one of the senior volunteers do work on, the pollinator plot and the boxes up near the road. I don't know. So just floating those things to you guys to mull over. That's all I got.
Great.
Thanks, Laura.
Thank you, Laura.
I like your topsoil proposal. I'd be interested in seeing how we could move ahead with that.
Okay. So that brings us to our outreach report. Internal outreach.
Yep. Not much has changed. We have a new person who showed up Sunday with her sibling. Her name is Aya Mayers, and she doesn't even have a plot yet. But she and I and her sibling, whose name I didn't catch, went over and did some weeding in the donation plot. I think Mark noticed, and they are so excited about gardening with us. I gave them the option of sending in an application and getting a plot with the fee waived for the rest of the season because they'd like to get some garlic in. And then next season they can pay the fee, the same as we've done with a few other people. And I think she was going to let me know when she sent the application or brought the application in so I could give Barbara a heads up. And they're just two delightful human beings who are super excited about gardening, and I think it's just going to be great. So we have, well, according to my records, without the inspection results, we have B1, B4, and D12 open. And with the with Frank's latest assessment, we might also have A8 and 9 and maybe B8. So I will send emails to A8, A9, and B8 and see what's going on. I just got an email from someone else asking if they could be, if her roommate, I think it was someone who's gardening with us, asking if her roommate could be on the waiting list. And I wrote back, yes, of course, but I haven't received a response yet. And I think that's all I got.
Okay.
But I do think that we need to make these work parties a little more tightly organized, because I
would agree with that, Margie. This is probably the first time that it was that disorganized. It's usually the times are set, and I know we've even done them, like we've done morning times and then had a break and done afternoon times. Yeah.
Well, it's also because of COVID, because when I joined, we had these work parties almost every Thursday.
Right.
And we haven't done that
Right.
for like 2 or 3 years. So doing something like that would also, and if we have a list of tasks, there's always weeding. So I just told everyone, you can clean up in back of the shed, but it's maybe not a good job for a single person. I think you need more than one person for that. And feel free to weed the donation plot, the pollinator plot, the beds up by the parking space. And that seemed like enough. I mean, a lot of people could work on that and would still take a lot of time. So I think that's all. I might come up with something else, but I think that's all.
So it sounds as if there are right now up to 6 potential open plots. Is that correct?
Yes. There's
So
definitely 3.
Is Aya going to select one of those?
Yes, she's going to contact you, Stephen. She was going to try and join the meeting this evening. I guess she didn't make it. They're in the midst of moving.
Yeah.
They just moved to Easthampton and they're still moving. So
I did copy her on the notice so that she had it.
She did see that. And she said she'd contact you and let me know when the application is in.
Okay. Okay, great. Thank you. Outreach external. That's Eric.
Hi. Been posting. I think I missed 1 week with the community garden donations, but I did pick it up on the next week. This week, I was gone until yesterday, so I was a little bit behind on posting everything for that. And but I'm catching up, and I'll post the work party for this Saturday right after this meeting, and try to keep everybody in the loop and invigorated, and we'll try to get some work done before the season's over.
Yeah. Okay. Eric, actually, you weren't behind. What happened was that the week that looked like a blank week, which was the week before this one, the only thing that we actually had were peppers from Laura's garden. I sometimes take photos of them, but when they're the only thing, I don't want confusion as to whether that comes from us. Laura's had a bumper pepper crop, and I've been going there. I've included, you've seen it in some of the other photos, but that week I didn't. So you didn't miss anything, actually. And we should thank Laura, actually, for her, she's donated beans, green beans, and peppers, and in copious amounts. So giving me a lot of picking to do. Okay, so great, and you will post the work party thing. Yeah, I mean, what happened last weekend, at least, I mean, Saturday's weather was problematic, but it was kind of like, it turns out it was kind of very showery, so it was on and off and on and off and on and off. So I just kind of hung out there, and when it was off, that's when I scooped things up. I think we had a little weather issue there. Okay, thank you. Donation garden, Mark.
Yes, well, we are in the process, as been indicated, with all the cleanup of cleaning up the donation garden. And thanks to Margie and others who have helped with that already, I've been picking away at it, trying to kind of get rid of excessive end of the year weeds so that the garden will be in good shape, when we get there in the spring. When I got here this past spring, it had totally overgrown, so we had to work on it a bit, and I even hired a guy to do some rototilling. So, but hopefully we'll leave it in better condition this year for next spring. The question becomes, how much, what is our expectation about a donation garden? Stephen has noted that we didn't really have as much production this year, and I think some of that was because of the weather. But I think the whole issue of, what is our goal? How much do we want to produce? And is the one plot that we have, is that enough to meet our goal? So I would welcome more input on that. Certainly if we had a donation garden group, it would make it a lot easier to plan for that. I think we did get production this year. It was good. It was not like other gardens where there was little production, but I guess probably not as much as we would have had in past years. So I'm eager to see if there are others who would like to think with me about that for planning for the future. And as has been mentioned, we want to keep work on the cleanup, the garden cleanup, while we still have a few good weather weeks in front of us, we hope anyway. Oh, and the other thing was I've been doing kind of a little eyeballing of other gardens where people seem to have either deserted or they're no longer harvesting things. So there are what's been referred to as gleanings out there. And we came to find out that Dawn had gave us permission to take the kale on her spot because she's apparently all done. But there may be others. And I think to me, it's a really regrettable thing to see good produce just go bad in the field when we could be harvesting it and giving it to the folks at the community center. So we're, I think, going to continue to reach out to those who seem to have stuff growing but aren't harvesting it. Find out if we can take advantage of those gleanings and put them to a good cause.
Yeah. So last week we got the melons.
Cecilia.
Yeah. And I intend to harvest the kale from Dawn's on Monday, along with the what's remains from the donation garden. There's just basically there was a little pumpkin. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know where that came from, Stephen, because I put in butternut squash, and there is one that it looks like a butternut squash, and then there's that one that looks like a pumpkin. Right. I don't know where it came from.
So I was just waiting for them to ripen.
Me too. Yeah, maybe so by next Monday.
Yeah, I'll scoop it up. Anyhow.
Yeah.
But
yeah, we've had to. That's
so it would be. Maybe we ought to get a notice out, Mark, just reminding people that if there is stuff to harvest, this is really the time to do it. We got some frosts coming in, etc. So I'm happy if they either put it in the coolers, or of course if they just simply say, you like what Dawn is doing, that you can harvest it. I can harvest it on Monday.
I mean, the challenge is to get people to respond when we send out a notice, because we'll send it out and we don't hear from people, and then meanwhile the produce is just sitting there.
I know, but we could try one more time and get a notice out to people. They'll have till 8 a.m. Monday.
Right.
Do something or inform us.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mark. Karen had problems getting in, but if you turn to the chat, she left this report. Can everyone get to that chat?
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm just going to read this quickly into the record, because I don't think the chat copies into the record. So she said the pollinated garden has perennial plants getting ready for winter, to asters, goldenrod, yarrow, verbena, and hyssop, whatever it is. They've been mulched with shredded leaves to increase the survival rate over the winter. The plot had problems with excess water from continuously leaking water pipes, plus the 5 weeks of rain into July. And then Hurricane Ida in August. So the annuals that were planted, Cosmos, Nicotiana, Tiana, and Cleone, survived, but they didn't thrive. The sunflowers died. Bless you. I've collected more cardboard, and I see a nice pile of wood chips there. So I'll be covering the plot again this winter with both of those, squelch the weeds. Thank you. So that's her report. Okay, so that's all the operational reports that are done. We also have a time, David, for Gardner Feedback. If there was a member who wanted to just say anything about anything, this is the time for that.
I did have one thought about the donation garden.
Yes.
Maybe have a if there's lots of leftover at the end of the season, maybe have a date after which point, if you're not harvesting, it's gleanable. And
Oh,
just
I
have
like that
be
idea.
understood for the future.
Yeah, so do I. I really like that
That's
idea.
a good idea, David. Thank you. Well, we should that be in the notice or is it for next year? What do you think? Stephen?
Well, I would like to put in the notice so people can at least, yeah, if they want to grab their stuff.
Can you please repeat that? I didn't quite catch it.
So what if, instead of trying to figure out after a certain date if people have abandoned their garden for the season, just have it understood if you've got stuff out there after, say, October 15 and you're not harvesting it, it's going to the donation. And just, clear, simple calendar date.
Unless they notify us otherwise, if they're still harvesting some of their stuff into the...
Exactly.
That doesn't really work because, for example, I keep my kale out there until January or February, as long as it's going.
Yeah, that's why we said unless they notify us otherwise.
Right. I mean, people can say that. So I think, I love the idea. And Margie, to your point, for those people who are still like you, attentive to their plot and, getting yields, they just tell us, I'm good. Fine, I'll tell you if there's anything, because you're very good, actually, also, Margie. When you donate, you actually pick it and you put it in the chest, whatever. So it's always there. So, but for everyone else that probably have, basically not really paying attention, it is a shame for it to be wasted, and that's what happens. So now the question is, if people like the idea, whether or not we want to attempt right now to notify people, and we can, there's so much that we could, I plan on harvesting this Monday, but we could make it the following Monday. There's probably going to be enough stuff left that gives people, a reasonable amount of time, 10 days or so, to get what they want, or to notify us, or simply notify us that they, don't want. So do people like that idea?
Do we make a date? I had to take that phone call for a minute, and I think I missed it.
Yeah. So the idea would be the November 15th, which is a Monday. If people haven't otherwise notified us, and we see salvageable produce, that it'll be included in the donation to the community center on that day.
Yeah.
Well, I'm letting you know right now.
Yeah, we know.
Okay,
We know. Hands off of Margie's stuff. All that good kale.
Kale and beets. That's my winter food.
Oh, no problem.
Back off.
Okay, Eric, did you get this? Because this will have to be posted too. And let's be very clear. It's 8 a.m. on the Monday the 15th, because we're supposed to turn stuff into the community center by 9.
Okay. 8 a.m. Monday the 15th. That's our cutoff.
Yeah. That is a Monday, is it not?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
What is that? That's our last donation? Or is that?
That is basically, all plot holders should understand that unless they've notified us otherwise, that if we see salvageable produce in their lots, it will be harvested and included in that week's donation to the community center.
We're going to get some flack for this.
That's all right.
Why, Margie? If we notify them in advance and they have a chance to say, no,
because
don't.
Nobody does, because people don't always remember to notify us or have time to, they don't take the time. They don't take the time to harvest, but they have it in their mind that they're going to, and they forget to notify us. And then they come back and their stuff is gone.
After November 15th, it shouldn't shock anybody. I mean, this is
it's
not South Carolina. So, I mean, what's left?
Well, it's turning into that, Stephen, if we keep going the way we're going.
Kale and beets and carrots are still thriving.
Frank's giving it both a global warming.
Yeah, most of what I'm seeing as I walk around is just kale that's starting to go bad. It's not your kind, Margie, the curly kind. It's the other kind, like what Dawn has. and it starts to get yellowish, and you just know it's not going to last.
But I have that kind too, and it's still good.
Yeah, well, the other plots I've seen, it's not so good.
The problem I have is slugs.
Take a walk around. You'd be surprised. Yeah.
But I'm just saying, who wants to take the hit for this? I don't feel like fielding all the flack that I'm sure is going to come in response. So who would like to, if I get people who say, why are you doing this? I would like to say, email somebody if you would rather not do this and if you have objections.
And this could also be something to roll out next year and give folks a whole season to know, hey, before the next,
yes,
I think that's
before the frost, we're going to take the food so it doesn't go bad.
Oh,
I think that's a very good idea.
Because there really isn't that much out there right now.
That's true. That's true.
Okay, well, that may be, but I just, like I said, I would make the point. Yeah, listen, it's not that thought escaped me, David. Sometimes, sometimes precipitous action gets people's attention. Because we'll say the same thing next year and people say, what? And we could say, hey, remember last year?
Well, here's
that's what we did. So pay attention.
David has a point. We then people have a whole season to digest the idea.
Here's what we can do. Here's what we can do now. I will walk around. I mean, I did this with Cecilia's plot on the melons, and I did this, and we noticed Dawn's as well, and Margie followed up on that. I will find specific plots that look to me like the food there is going bad or won't last. And then I will find out who they are, and I will contact them personally and try to get their permission or to get their understanding. Do they want to leave it for the community garden, or are they planning on harvesting it? How about that for this year?
I prefer that very much.
And then next year, as you say, we'll put the notice out at the beginning of the year. This is what happens. This is the way it works.
I'll post something to Facebook. I'll make it an opt-in case there is anybody paying attention and they don't have the time to go.
Wouldn't that be great? People pay
I like that.
Opt-in.
Sorry, guys, I seem to play devil's advocate quite a lot here, but
No,
I
that's
think
good.
it's awesome, Margie.
Yes, it is good.
Yeah, no, because I probably would if you didn't. Because
Oh, we hired you. Yeah. Oh, really? Right.
well, yeah, but we can talk about that up at the garden. We don't have to.
Okay, so that's a nice piece of new business. Is there, since we're at the end, we're at the new business thing, there's any other pieces of new business?
Yeah,
Wow.
we have to decide when we're going to meet in 2022.
Correct. Well, let's first decide whether or not we're going to have any more 2021 meetings, because the next one will be December. We normally don't meet in
We
December.
normally don't meet in December and January, and February.
Right.
No need unless it's an emergency meeting, and I can't imagine any emergencies at this point.
we have a tornado.
No, the Thistle survived 5 below zero, and it's still spreading. What do we do? It's still green, man. I mean, and we've, in town, we had frost here. I mean, it got cold, but you have to remember up there, you need to drop it like by another 3 or 4 degrees.
Hey, is thistle edible or good for anything?
Man, all I know is we talked about goats. It'd be an awesome time to have them because it's the only thing green up there other than the kale right now.
I would say, Mark, consult a good Scottish cookbook. You might find some thistle recipes.
I'll check it out.
So I think the question, as posed by Frank, is should we plan that our first meeting will be a March meeting?
Or we could even, no later than March.
Yeah.
We could even talk about February. I think we've done a February before, but it was just a quick thing to kind of.
Yeah, I'm not certain. I mean, most of the time we go over the application, et cetera. So, it's the first Thursday of March, so it's early. It's still winter.
Right, and really the application. I mean, that's something that we could even review on our own. and make suggestions, because like the idea I had where, okay, let's, if you have a documented disability and you want to have a garden, please let us know ahead of time, just something like that, so we can make sure that we hold a plot for somebody in that situation. But there'll be other things that we'll look at the application. We're definitely probably going to want to tweak here and there.
Yeah. Well, let's put this in the form of some kind of motion so we can get closure on it. So
Agreed.
One proposal would be that we take the next 3 months off. So we're a 9-month committee. That would bring us to the first Thursday in March 2020 for our next business meeting. That's one proposal. Is there a second proposal? Could be make that February instead of March and make it a 2-month. So is that a fair rendition of the options? If so, how many people would favor?
Oh my gosh. I'm looking at my Google Calendar. The first Thursday in February is like the 3rd. That would almost be in March. The first Thursday is the 3rd. We could really probably put her off till March. I'll just throw that out there before you. I'm sorry to.
That's all right. The problem with February is that we wouldn't even know if the groundhog saw his shadow. It's that early.
Well, isn't it the same day? February 3rd, or is it the
It's
second?
pretty silly, but the March 3rd and February 3rd are both fall on a Thursday.
That's because whenever February is 28 days, it always happens.
Yeah, and that's really early in March. So we really could probably.
Okay, so I'm hearing maybe consensus on that, but I'll ask for hands anyhow for March 3rd. All right. So be it.
And we could be up to our waists in snow at that point still. The way this season went, if that moisture keeps up, that could very well be what happens.
Hey, we could use the snow.
No, it's good. It's good for the land.
I'd love to have some snow. I want to be able to have the option of cross-country skiing for like 5 weeks in a row instead of like 2 days.
Okay, any other piece of business? All right, hearing and seeing none. It is 8:15. Is there entertain a motion to adjourn? All in favor of adjournment. Another year under our belt. When are we going to have that holiday party, Frank?
I don't know. We need to go to a brewery. I know that.
You want to go to a brewery? You want to?
There you go.
Can we sip something under your mistletoe or something?
Thistle tea.
I think we should support some local business. How much do we have in that petty cash? No.
Okay, so all in favor? Aye. Opposed? No one was. We stand adjourned at 8:15.
And if we decide to get together, then we'll just do that by email. Why not?
Okay, good enough.
All right, y'all.
Okay,
Thank
bye
you,
everybody.
everybody.
Well, everybody.
Be safe. See you
Have a
up
good
the
night.
garden.